peeps. So couple weeks ago, nope, not even, 8 days ago, beginning of the year, still is the beginning, sorry, the kids and I sat down and we made some goals. And a couple people asked me what my goals were, and to be honest, when I started trying to make my goals, they were all centered around the kids, like different goals I had for them or different things I wanted to do regarding them. And it was kind of hard for me to think about, like, what are my goals? Like, what are Nicole's goals? And I like goals that have timelines. I once heard off of Shark Tank, I can't remember his name, he's from Canada. When you're looking at Shark Tank, he would always sit on the far right. Robert? Anyways, he said, a goal without a timeline is just a dream. So I think I made certain goals, right? Like more concrete things that I can check off the list. Nothing really major on the horizon. One of them is to start the blog up again. So I bought the domain name. It was not expensive last fall, and so I've had that intention. So that's one, and I set my goal by my birthday, or actually I said January, and then in my head I was like, well, maybe by my birthday, which is March, so I have some time. But anyways, clearly I need to create a timeline, otherwise it's just a dream. Point being, I did have one goal that's not going to really be able to be like measured. It's more of like a self-check-in thing that I'm going to have to, rather than check off, it's going to be like me assessing. And I just kept thinking about joy. So my goal is to choose joy, because I hope this doesn't look like I'm putting on a spiritual cap. I hope it just like seems as normal as my random videos complaining in the pantry. But the Bible talks about, talking about the Bible, when it says be joyful always, it says give thanks in all circumstances, be joyful always, pray continually. That might not be the order. It's in 1 Thessalonians 4, I believe. Anyways, probably should have looked that up before I started rolling. But anyways, those 3 things, right? And just be joyful always. I have that up in a couple spots in my house. So clearly that's something I want to like pound into myself and the peeps around me. But I started thinking about it, and it's like, God wasn't saying like, be joyful always because everything in life is joyful. No, so to be joyful always means you have to choose to be joyful. So I've been thinking a lot about that, and I've been thinking a lot about the fact that, like, I called November bipolar November this last year because the first almost 2 weeks were spent in Hawaii with the Team Smith, so 4 of us, and it was ridiculously magical. It was just like, and I didn't have my phone on me, and even though I clearly like my phone and my interaction with people through that, but it was just like a checked out, family focused, awesome time. Came back, and my grandma, who I'm insanely close with, had a heart attack, and then it was like 11 or so days of straight going to the hospital every day and massive surgery, and praise the Lord, she's doing well. But it was definitely like, whoa, bipolar November. So I was thinking of, like, in Hawaii, when you're sitting on this boat, or you're watching your kids jump into the pool, or you're sliding down the water slide with them, like, joy just kind of is. Like, joy is like around you, in you, like it just is. Like it laughter, like it's like joy is almost like a tangible thing. But when you're sitting in the hospital watching your tiny grandma try to be brave, she executed it like a boss. Then you have to choose joy. When you're bringing turkey dinner, because that's what grandma wanted, and that's what grandma's gonna get, is homemade turkey dinner, even though I called Safeway to order one. But no, we did the real thing. Like, no, like, anybody would see that is less than ideal. So when God is saying be joyful always, I don't think he's telling us to, like, not acknowledge that it was a real crappy situation. So I think it has to be a conscious decision, like love, right? Like, I always tell my friends, I can't really offer dating advice. Kelly and I started dating when I was 17. Like, we got married as babies. It was just silliness. So I don't really have dating experience, right? But I tell them this. I say, marry someone who you can, like, have fun with in your sweatpants, hanging out at home, because that's the day-to-day life, right? Like, you can have fun with I would assume, with just about anyone, like on some magical date or like going on some cool like adventure and hike or river rafting, like I don't know what these kids do these days, but it's pretty easy, right? Like unless you're with a real dud, no offense, but if you're out about doing something, but it's the person who you can like sit down and just be with. Why am I talking about this? The point is that love, like you're choosing to love. I guess that was really dumb. Oh crap, I need to learn how to edit. I was going so. Anyways, what I was saying, I was thinking those are hard times to love, but I guess it's not hard times to love. Don't be distracted by. In Hawaii, if you're with me, God bless you. I don't know. Anyways, in Hawaii, joy was. Back at home, in reality, like we had to choose it. And I think the reason, I think joy this year is going to be like an onion that you're unfolding, right? And this is 6 minutes. No one's watching this, but I'm going to just keep talking. Maybe there will be one. Goal is one person to get a smile from this. Point is, the reason that we are to choose joy is because as crappy as a situation can be, and my family, believe it or not, has had harder Thanksgivings than one in the hospital. And that's for another post. But it's because that's not it. That's not the big picture. Like, you're not being joyful because, oh, this is just so fun. Everything's joyful and perfect. No, you're choosing joy because you're trusting that God, who loves you, has a plan. And I saw a post from a person who I really respect. I don't know her personally, but she's like an inspirational person, have nearly like 1 million followers. Like she's a big thing. And she was talking about how like she hates it when people say that, you know, God has a plan in all things and that all things work together for his good. And that is a verse. And so if you're claiming to believe the Bible, then you have to trust that in all things, like that he didn't make a mistake, that he's not like, oh shoot, okay, I'm gonna have to move my appointment for that one. And he doesn't work around the crap that happens on earth. Like, I don't understand all of that. That is way deeper than my 1-year Bible certificate that I got 1 million years ago. So point is, joy is because one of the reasons, you're choosing joy because you're trusting in who's ultimately in control. You're choosing joy because you know that no matter how hard it gets on earth, it's temporary. Georgie had a sweet, precious friend tell her today, who's going through something challenging at 7 years old. She had her tell her at her public little school, I just want to be in heaven because then Jesus will just take care of me. Like that broke my heart. So I'm hoping Georgie can be a bright, shining light to her and help her to choose joy. And yeah, so this is very long. And I hope that there's a nugget, because in my head, it just became very real that be joyful always, that we are told to do that is not because life's easy and not because life's joyful. You might have more than one bipolar month, or maybe it just will seem really low, but we're being joyful always because our joy and our hope is in the Lord and not in our circumstances. All right, good night, peeps.